Before this trip, I'd never been to the state of Idaho before, had never seen a Hungarian partridge or a wild chukar, and neither had the dogs, so my expectations were pretty low in terms of us getting into any birds. However, when we got to camp, I let the dogs out to run some, and to my surprise, Boogie went on point. He relocated 3 times, and I flushed a covey of Huns and knocked one down, and he made a good retrieve. Unfortunately, I turned my camera off when I thought I was turning it on, and I didn't get any video of the work. The only thing I have is this picture I took with my phone. After that initial covey, things got a little more complicated, as I expected them to. My dogs just aren't used to working birds that run as much as these birds were running. I originally thought the sagebrush was kind of thick and might hold birds, but once I looked under there, I could see that it was open and actually was kind of like an interstate system for them. All right, so I think this is our second Hun. It was sloppy though. Way over there, I jumped a covey. I was like 80 yards away from him though, so I was surprised. There wasn't a dog around him, but they flew over this way. I think that they came up top of this hill and Hank bumped them, and a group of them flew kind of over me, and I took a shot at this one and got him. And Pete was right there with me, and he grabbed it up real quick and brought it to me. So that was his first bird contact, and he's looking a little more lively now. So it's not pretty, but we're getting on the board, so that's good. Here, Hank has gone on point out in the open, and for some reason I was kind of skeptical that there were birds there, but gotta trust your dog. I gotta check it out. Far away. Okay, so to this point things haven't gone very well. So I decided to make a couple changes. One, to run just one dog at a time, and then also try to be more stealthy on my approach to see if I can get closer to the birds. It's the next day now, and Boogie's gone on point, and I'm making an effort to sneak up on the birds. Got one down. Oh, he missed it. Give it. He didn't mark it. I heard it. Even though I'm pretty sure I heard this bird when I first got into the area, Boogie and I looked for a long time and could not find it. Never did come up with it. Hank just went on point up on top of that hill, 155 yards away. So it is the next day now, and I'm out with Hank, and unfortunately his work on these birds wasn't very good, but something clicked for him, and his work after this group of birds was much better. Whoa! All right, got one that time. I feel like I hit it pretty hard. Oh, here he is. He's down. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That one I hit. Check it out. There you go. Oh yeah. Good boy. Good boy. It's your bird. It's your bird. You ate your bird. He's on point right now. Okay, so we moved on, and Hank has gone on point again about 50 yards from me. And this is a funny sequence. And when I get to him and I move up in front of him, I actually spot the birds, and I see them running. And as much as I've been wanting Hank to be more steady, and he is being steady, I end up chasing after the birds, and he follows me to get them up in the air so I can get a shot. One down, but just winged him. I could see him running. Hank and I spent quite a while looking for this downed bird. It's important for me to try to find them, if at all possible, when they go down like this. And it was in several stages. He had gotten close to it, I think, and it ran off again. So I kept turning the camera off and on and don't have just a continuous feed. But I think it was a real nice piece of work for Hank, the way he got this bird. And I was equally as happy about him finding this bird as I was him finding the cubby initially and getting them pointed. Buddy, you recovered a bird. We have been struggling with that. Yes, we have. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job. Yeah. Good job. Thank you. Thank you, buddy. So Hank and I are headed back to the truck, and he did find and point a single that flushed while before I could get close enough to get a shot. And then he also had this point, which when I got the signal was about 85 yards away, and it was close to the truck, almost to within sight of the truck. That was beautiful, man. I'm sorry. That one was totally on me. I was really surprised I didn't hit this bird, and even now I wanted to watch it in slow motion to see what happened. But even after watching it, I'm not sure what happened, and I just know that I didn't touch it. That was it for Huns. Now time to try to find some chukar, but I think Hank had a pretty good day here. Before we get into chukar, though, I want to take just a minute to talk about the truck camping for this trip. This was the longest trip I've ever taken, including travel time. It was a full 2 weeks that I was living out of the truck. We were camped in a pretty remote piece of BLM land that had wildlife all around us, including Huns. There were a bunch of Huns there, and we went hunting a couple times right out of camp. But there was still a small town pretty close by that we could go to for supplies when we needed them. Overall, I do enjoy the truck camping part of my trips now, but it's also saved me quite a bit of money. In fact, for this trip alone, I think just for housing, conservatively, I saved over $2,000. When I was on the road, I spent every night at a rest area, and me personally, I've never had a problem staying at a rest area. And out west, there were actually more rest areas available than there were hotels that I'd want to stay at. This clip is from a rest area in Utah. I saw this guy at a rest area in Wyoming. I think he was eating some grass seed that had been planted not too long before.
While at camp, I cooked up some of our Huns, and I think they turned out pretty well. In fact, I might do a second video that gets into that in more detail. Even for this longer outing, I don't have any complaints about the truck camping part of my trip. Now, it might not be everybody's cup of tea, but it's worked well for me. Now to Chukar. From looking at some topo maps, it appeared that the elevation increased by about 2,000 feet or a little more, just 11 or 12 miles north of camp, so I headed north. I had originally planned to hunt Chukar and Huns the same amount of time, but with our slow start on Huns, I decided not to jump over to Chukar until we figured that out a little more. So we only went looking for Chukar 2 times, but I do think we found birds both times.
Where I'm going to start Chukar hunting, the truck is parked right down there, and I've already walked up to here, and my plan is to actually go up here, try to get on that ledge, and then there's some rock structures you can see. They're kind of in the clouds now, and then there's one big rock structure back there, and go on up around, see if we get into anything, come on around this way and come back. So we're kind of making a loop like that. And Boogie's he's looking around like he's thinking something's going on. But anyway, we're at about 6,600 feet here. No, 5,600 feet, I'm sorry. And I don't know if there's a bird in this, of any kind, in this area. But I'm going to give it a try and see. There's a little bit of snow that just happened this morning, which on the bright side, it'll give me an opportunity to look for tracks and stuff. On the not so great side, maybe, is it'll make things a little more slippery as I'm trying to figure out what this terrain is like. But I'm going to get to it. Let's see if we find anything. So we've made the first climb. Down there is where I started. And you can kind of see, I was hoping there'd be a little more of a plateau up here. But the plan is to go up here and go, I don't know if that's, I see a trail or a road right up there. I might get on that and try to go on the other side of this rock formation. And let's see, Boogie's 202 yards that way. I kind of was hoping he'd stay a little closer, but maybe he will once we get going.
As we were getting into this, it became kind of apparent that Boogie was running a little too big for this terrain, primarily because of the length of time it would take for me to get to him if he went on point.
I just got an alert that Boogie went on point 300 yards that way, which he'll hold, but man, it's going to take me an hour to get there.
Of course, I was exaggerating about the hour, probably got a little bit frustrated, but started walking that way, and the walking wasn't too bad, really.
200 yards, right up there.
Boogie is a very steady dog, so I felt confident he would stay put as long as the birds didn't flush. But unfortunately, when I got about halfway there, I think that's what happened.
He's running again. Oh. Dang. I never saw what happened. So, he doesn't look any worse for wear, so I guess we'll keep at it.
That's about as good as it got for this walk, but I do think he had some Chukar on point. But I'm hopeful that maybe Hank tomorrow will be a better match for the terrain in terms of his range.
So this is our last morning here, and Hank and I want to get up on that rim, but you can see that it's pretty socked in right now. Sun's making its way. I'm later than I wanted to be because it was very foggy this morning. I did run the drone up there yesterday, and I'll show a little bit of footage of that right now just to make sure, in fact, that that's a plateau. And it is. So it looks like it'll be worth the hike. It's going to be quite a hike to get up there, though. But it looks like it's going to be worth it, maybe, as far as being able to walk around up there. Last night, looked at Google Earth, once I kind of located it, and did see a patch of green up there, which maybe means there's a seepage, a little bit of water. So I'm hoping that the combination altitude up there is about 5,500 feet, which is in the Chukar range, I guess. There's a little bit of food, maybe a little bit of water. So I'm hoping there's some birds there, but we'll find out. All right. So there you go, buddy. Hank and I are on our way up into the clouds. There's a fence row I see going up that hill there. I might try that as a path to get up there and see how it goes. That's some kind of big bird track right there. That looks bigger than a Hun. I don't know if sage grouse would be up here or not, but it could be chukar. I don't know, but I'm guessing that's chukar. It's bigger than Hun, which I identified. It doesn't look like deer or anything, so I think they're a chukar up here. I think we're close to the plateau. I don't know, it might be up there. But anyway, pretty good climb, but not impossible or terrible. There's more vegetation up here than I expected, which is good.
Once we got to the actual plateau, there wasn't nearly as much cover, but Hank still managed to get some birds on point fairly soon after we got up there.
I just saw Hank go on point right out here. But he's flagging. I'm gonna try and sneak up here. Please hold. I don't want the birds to stay. Man. What's he doing? He just took off. I didn't see any birds. I wonder if it was a rabbit. Oh no, I do see a bird. So he did take off, and I saw a bird later. I didn't see initially, but there were just a couple. But they were big. I think they were chukar. But I didn't get very close, obviously. It is tough to be sneaky in this terrain. I don't know how I'm going to get close enough to get a shot. I just scared up a bunch of chukar right there. Right there, there they go. Man, they fly a long ways. Hank is watching them.
On this walk, I think we ended up moving 4 coveys of chukar, but I never got close enough to any of them to get a shot. Even though we didn't get any of these birds in the bag, I didn't come away from the experience thinking that these are impossibly difficult birds to hunt, but rather that there are some things that we need to figure out to be more successful. Top of the list of things to improve is not letting your dog range 300 or 400 yards. That you can't get away with that chukar hunting, but really that actually holds for a lot of birds. The second thing is, I think, is hunting cover, or at least having some variance in topography of the land so that the birds don't see you from a mile away, and you have occasionally the opportunity to sneak up on them. I think those are 2 important things for me to try to improve moving forward. So overall, I think this was a pretty good trip for us. We did not pile up a lot of birds, but it was our first time trying any of it, dogs too. So I thought we did okay considering. I would say that Huns have become one of my favorite birds to hunt from this trip, and I really am excited to try chukar again and put a little more time into trying to figure them out. I think they're a lot of fun as well. All right, thanks for watching.